Ding, ding, ding. Round 4. Jason Statham, Guy Ritchie, action film. All right. They actually pull it off.
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I hate pikeys. Oh yeah, wrong movie. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Mr. Teach Film Preach, and thank you for joining me today. If you're a lover of films like I am, and if you love to learn from films as much as I do, then you are in the right place. Click like down below and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and like this video, maybe give me a comment. And I would love to know your thoughts down below. What did you guys think of this film? Was this an amazing return of Guy Ritchie, but in a different way? Or were you hoping and expecting a Guy Ritchie film, and that's not what was quite delivered to you? I really love Guy Ritchie and the stuff that he puts out most of the time. So let's begin. Today we are talking about the 2021 action thriller revenge heist film called Wrath of Man. This movie is directed by Guy Ritchie, who has done other films like Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, most recently Aladdin and The Gentleman, which I am a big fan of all of those movies that I just listed. On top of his other films that maybe not a lot of people have checked out, like Rock and Rolla.
Oh, rock and roller. Rock and roller. Rock and roller. Rock and roller.
Wrath of Man stars Jason Statham as this character named only as H. He is a armored truck driver and a guard for the money that transports all throughout the city of Los Angeles and comes through this depot every day. Sometimes it's millions upon millions of dollars. He is very much overqualified for the job, and we begin to unravel his story of why he took this job, what is leading him, and what is motivating him. And I really enjoyed this journey, and I'm trying to keep away from spoiling too much, but still wanting to talk about the film itself. And it's a little difficult because as the story unravels, you just learn more and more about him, about what is motivating him as a character. He is there not just as a driver. He is doing his own sort of investigation of some events that happened at the beginning of the film. This movie is actually a quite simple revenge but thriller heist kind of genre mixed together, and somehow it really works. It's a great sort of blend of these genres. There are some great revenge films out there like Kill Bill, and there's some great heist movies out there like Heat, but kind of meshing the two in a way is really interesting. And the fact that I'm bringing up Kill Bill with Quentin Tarantino is I've often said in past conversations with friends that I've always felt Guy Ritchie is sort of the British Quentin Tarantino. Now, obviously their styles are wildly different and they tell different stories, but they're often set around criminals, intersecting stories. He tells things in a non-linear format, crazy, quirky characters, snappy, witty dialogue. So there's a lot of similarities. And what really stood out for this film for me was the storytelling aspect. Forewarning for everyone, this is not a normal Guy Ritchie film. If you're going into this movie expecting Snatch or Lock, Stock, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Gentleman, that sort of style, hold your expectations. That would probably be my one warning for this film. Then I think you'll really enjoy this movie for what it is. It is a straightforward revenge thriller action heist film. It is very serious. It's dead serious, actually. And sometimes I wish that they had put a little bit of levity or just a few little quips here and there.
What? Proper fuck. You got that, London.
That's just a small little smidge of a problem that I'm picking at, because this film was really great, actually. I thought it worked extremely well. It was fast-paced. I loved the storytelling aspect of it. The action was really intense and visceral and extremely important to the film. And I like that. I like that it wasn't just mindless action. Yes, there is a little bit of that aspect of just Jason Statham coming out with guns and just mowing everyone down and being the badass that we expect that Jason Statham is going to be. But the way that the story is told and the action is such an integral part of the story itself that it makes sense. And I like that. I like when people have, and directors and writers put action and situations that our characters are really trying to get out of as a main part of the story. It's not just there to be like, look at the cool effects and the explosions we have. And I'm not saying it's bad to do those things, but I'm just wanting to see a little bit more strength and conviction in our storytelling. Like when the movie opens, there's this heist that's being done on these armored car drivers, and you see that from one perspective, and then you go into the next chapter of the movie and you see it from, you know, maybe Jason Statham's perspective as the character of H. And then you go into another chapter of the film, and then there is another perspective that's being told from different characters. And I just love that. I thought it was a really fresh and interesting way to tell this story than just to have like a revenge heist thriller that's straightforward, linear, and you're just kind of figuring stuff as we go along. Things are kept from the audience on purpose so that it shows things later that really make sense, or it impacts more. It has a more of a gut punch to it, and I appreciate that about the storytelling, and I really enjoy that for myself. Not everyone is into that, and I understand that. I think that is such a cool style of filmmaking. It's got a really interesting tone. Guy Ritchie does a great job in this movie. Even if it's a little bit more serious, it's actually probably one of his more mature films, in the sense that it's not as quippy, it's not as lighthearted in its certain ways, and its violence, in fact, it's quite brutal at times. The cast is great. We have Jason Statham in the lead role. Holt McCallany from Mindhunters is great in this movie. The return of Josh Hartnett, haven't seen him in something in a while. Andy Garcia makes a few appearances throughout it. Scott Eastwood is probably the best he's ever been in a movie. He does a great job. He actually has a little bit of a character, and he's not just like the charming sort of douchebag guy. And I mean, he is in this, but there's a different take on it this time. There's some layers being brought to his character, and I thought that they crafted a really interesting story. Even though we've seen this movie tons of times, either the heist portion of it, or the revenge part of it, or just the thriller aspect and how it feels, but the way that they told the story, the non-linear storytelling, the chapters that they have, breathing a little bit more of fresh life into what could have been more of a stale, stagnant script in the end, depending on who wrote it. So I really like that about this film. They swung for the fences in a bunch of different ways, and I felt 9 out of 10 times it really connected. The last 40 minutes of this movie is great. The heist itself, the things that happen, the things that are revealed, the moments are intense, and they're in that body armor and they're getting shot at inside the depot, and there's all that craziness going on. I thought that was a fantastic scene. I thought it was one of the better action scenes I've seen in this year so far. You feel so bad for some of the characters, even though we don't get to know them that well, and that was probably for me one of the biggest downfalls, was we didn't get to quite get to know our characters all the time. So the character development isn't the greatest and isn't the most in-depth, and I don't think that was really necessarily a focus that Guy Ritchie was trying to make, but it did pull down the film just a little bit. I would have liked a little bit of backstory more on H, a little bit more about some of these other characters, intensity that is built around some of the torture scenes and some of the action scenes, really well executed. The editing style was fantastic. I enjoyed the way the movie was shot. I thought it looked really great. It wasn't too boring or too conventional. They did some interesting camera angles and some camera shots. It brought me to the conclusion that, yeah, Guy Ritchie really did a great job of pulling off a straightforward, serious revenge heist thriller film, and I commend him for that. The action was intense and great storytelling aspect. I think it really paid off in the end. So this is a great film. Definitely go check it out. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite films right now of this year so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Wrath of Man an A-. Yes. What did you guys think of Wrath of Man? Was this an awesome Guy Ritchie film? Were you happy with the direction that he went in? Or were you sorely missing the old school style? You're just like, no, Guy Ritchie, wow! So if you like this video, click like down below and subscribe to my channel if you want some more content and check out some more videos. I would love to hear your thoughts, so please comment down below. Mwah, that would be beautiful. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Come back and check out some more Mr. T's Film Preach. I got some other reviews like Army of the Dead, and let's put something a little bit more lighthearted on here, like Snatch. Can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and as always, let's get taught.